welcome to the Daily Transfer Show. I'm your host Miles. I'm joined here as ever by Goal's chief correspondent Peter Staunton, and we're going to be rounding up some of the top transfer news and rumours as we head towards deadline day, which is just 2 days away now. We're going to start with Arsenal finally on the brink of signing Borussia Dortmund striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It seems like Wenger heard your cries last week for them to just get that deal over the line.
Yeah, it's not no Aubameyang, it's yes Aubameyang. I can't
believe you said that straight in. Awful. Cringe-worthy.
Yeah, I know. But it does look like yes Aubameyang rather than no Aubameyang now.
Yeah.
He played at the weekend. He made it back into the squad for the Freiburg game, and he didn't play well. And I think Dortmund are maybe looking at it going, a bit of an Alexis Sanchez situation. What's the point in playing a player who just patently his heart's not in anymore, just doesn't want to be here? So they've been imploring Arsenal just to meet the valuation for the last 2 weeks almost. And now it looks like Arsenal have come much closer to what Dortmund are looking for. We estimate it's around 70 million euros that they're looking for at the minute, which when you take in the whole Brexit thing isn't too far away from 70 million pounds now.
It's 62 million.
62 million pounds.
So, yeah.
And Arsenal were reluctant to go that high, but they seem to have struck a deal somewhere between the region of 68 and 70 million euros.
Yeah, they're still 2 million short, but I mean, Arsenal were never going to quite get there, were they? It was just edging their way, 50, 58.
You know when you're trying to buy something with change and you just root it in your pockets and they go, it's okay, just don't worry.
Trying to barter, and Dortmund is like, no, we're not bartering.
So they're 2 million short of the 70, but still, the price that they're paying for such a quality striker, it's small beer in the grand scheme of things. When you think that, you know, Virgil van Dijk is moving for 75 and you can get Aubameyang, who's in a more prominent position in the team, but also a more proven player than somebody like Van Dijk. You know what? You could probably get 2.5 Coutinhos for the price of Aubameyang at this stage. No, you get 2 of them anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great deal for Arsenal. And finally, Wenger and Gazidis and Mislintat and all the boys have got together and decided that, let's get Aubameyang. And they must be, pinching themselves that they've got a free run at such a quality player.
But there are 2 days for it to still go wrong. One of the things I've been thinking of is how Man City tried to get Alexis Sanchez.
This is keeping Miles awake at night.
It's keeping me awake. 2 days to go. What happened in the summer, obviously, was Arsenal were going to sell Alexis Sanchez to Man City, but they couldn't get a replacement in, which was Thomas Lemar of Monaco at that point. Yeah. And so they just completely called the deal off. It would be a taste of their own medicine.
Dortmund absolutely need a replacement because there isn't anybody. They've got Alexander Isak and maybe Max Philip who can do a job up front, but they in order to fulfil their expectations of the season, and Champions League is a little bit sketchy for them at the minute. I mean, they were pegged back by Freiburg on Saturday, and they're in. You look at the teams that are around them. Bayer Leverkusen going well, and then they've got Hoffenheimer there too, and Schalke. There's a kind of a gaggle of clubs chasing. But when I say chasing Bayern, they're not exactly chasing them. But Dortmund could find themselves quickly out of that picture if they don't get a consistent goal scorer in. So they've been linked with Anthony Modeste, and they've also been linked with Giroud from Arsenal. Yeah. But again, complications could arise on that front over the next couple of days, and maybe that might be the only thing that could hold up Aubameyang at this stage. Yes, Aubameyang.
Yes, Aubameyang. We're going to move on now to, you mentioned Giroud there. Essentially, looks like Dortmund could have some competition for his signature from Chelsea, of all places. So it seems to be reported by a lot of British media at the moment that Chelsea have turned to Giroud as an alternative option, essentially because the Dzeko deal has taken quite a while to get over the line. There are some fears that it might not come off after all. Yeah.
There could be some brinkmanship here. Chelsea sort of put out the feelers, so Roma know that we're not going to hang around forever for Dzeko, so they might be more inclined to accept what Chelsea are offering. That happens in transfers all the time, and this could be a case of that happening too. But there was the news that Roma's other forward, Patrick Schick, was injured, which means that they might not be too willing to let Dzeko go again without getting a replacement in. I still think at the price that they're asking for Dzeko, was it £52 million for a double deal with Emerson Palmieri?
Right,
Excellent deal for such a proven goal scorer. Much better player than Giroud, but I can understand why Chelsea are maybe thinking about going in for Giroud.
He's still a better player than some of the ones they've been linked with.
He's probably a better Premier League player than Batshuayi, for example, and even though Batshuayi scored against Newcastle yesterday, and Batshuayi could find himself in this sort of transfer merry-go-round, he could find himself without what's it called, the horses on the merry-go-round?
I don't know, a merry-go-round horse?
Yeah.
Do they have a special name?
Do the horses have a special name?
Well, we don't know.
He could find himself without one of those horses on the merry-go-round.
Some people are saying he's quite hard done by Batshuayi, by Conte.
He is, but we don't work with him every day. I mean, we can just look at what he's doing on the field, and he's an excellent finisher. I think he's probably the best natural finisher that Chelsea have. But we don't work with him behind the scenes. We don't know what he's like at the training ground. We don't know how he accepts instruction. We don't know what his work rate is like. The managers know better, and if he's keeping him out of the team and doesn't fancy him, there's got to be a reason for that. It's not because he doesn't like him as a person. It's just because he's not giving him what he wants. Now Giroud, it would be a good alternative. It'd be a better move for him as well because he wouldn't have to move house, which would be ideal in the January transfer window. Don't want to be uprooting and going wherever. And if they got 35 million for Giroud,
yeah, that's what they want.
tell you, yeah.
Some Arsenal fans are pretty angry though
that is some Bitcoin style overvalue in that.
35 million for Giroud.
Yeah,
I guess if you're desperate though, and Arsenal don't really want to sell him to a rival, it seems like an alright value.
And then it's great because they get 35, then they're effectively paying half the price for Aubameyang.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching on Facebook whether you reckon Giroud could do a job at Chelsea or if you think Chelsea should be reaching higher to the sort of Aubameyang type targets, really.
Yeah, why isn't anyone at Chelsea gone, hang on, wait a minute, why don't we just go for Aubameyang?
Yeah, it's baffling, isn't it? I think we've said it a couple of times. They don't seem to be in the A tier anymore of these clubs that are bidding for the top players.
No, and again, I think we're going to come on to Eden Hazard as well. Yeah, it's not so much about not getting the players in, but they could be worried about having players leave at this stage.
So yeah, potentially huge deal that's brewing over at Manchester City. Sam Lee, our Man City correspondent, he understands that the club are interested in Chelsea's Eden Hazard. That would be one hell of a signing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and interested is probably that's about as close as Man City are at the minute.
Yeah.
I mean, and why wouldn't they be interested in such a player? But it's complicated by the fact that there's contract issues to be sorted out at Chelsea, whether he stays, goes, whatever. Real Madrid are also on the back burner, of course, even though they'll probably do all their money on this summer on trying to go for Neymar. And then you've got Manchester City. Now, what player, looking at what he's done for... Looking at what he's done for players like Sané and Sterling this season in particular, what attacking player wouldn't want to play under Pep Guardiola?
It does seem like he's following the same mantra he had at Bayern, where you try and buy the best players from your rivals. Because he tried to do it with Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, and now Eden Hazard, who is undisputedly Chelsea's best player. Well,
the interesting thing is that you get Hazard and De Bruyne in the same team, and it's a problem that Roberto Martinez has been trying to solve. And Mark Wilmots was trying to solve for Belgium as well. Is how do you get two playmakers who want to occupy the same space like that to get the best out of each other? Martinez did really well with it in the qualifiers, but he's had to sacrifice at the back. They only play with really sort of 2 or 3 natural defenders. So it might be interesting to see to get that extra playmaker into midfield. What Guardiola does. I mean, we're a million miles away from Hazard joining, but it's something that's clicked in my mind.
Yeah,
is how he solves that problem.
A few people pointed out on Twitter that it would actually be kind of hard for him to break into that first team to an extent at the moment. I mean, there are some quality players in attack. You've got Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling has been on form this season,
brilliant,
hasn't he?
Yeah.
Aguero obviously is there, but we think that it's potentially...
Yeah, Aguero could go, and you know what? Probably for me the greatest Manchester City player of all time is David Silva, but he's not getting any younger, so he will need to be replaced probably in the next couple of seasons. But the thing is, Hazard isn't he's football speaking, he's not a young guy anymore. He's 27 this year, so. But
you're getting a player in their prime.
Yeah. He's probably. I mean, he's been playing for so long now, Hazard, at the top level, that he's still in his peak. But you're probably looking at a player who would burn out at maybe, I would say, 31 in Hazard, with the acceleration and the dribbling that he has. I mean, it doesn't come naturally to players who get a bit older. So he's probably got one big contract or one big move left in him, I would say, Eden Hazard. And then, it's up to him and his father to decide where they want that. City, though, if you're asking me, do I think it would be a good move for him? For any player playing under Pep Guardiola is a good move.
100 million, do you reckon that's fair valuation?
That's cheap.
Cheap for Hazard?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think of what, Coutinho's 160 million euros?
Yeah, and who's a better player? Look, with all due respect, who's a better player between Coutinho and Hazard? You could do a poll right now and you get 100% people saying...
Well, let's do a poll right now. Let's ask our Facebook users, Hazard or Coutinho, who would you prefer having in your team? And let us know in the comment section. We'll read out some of the best ones at the end. One more point to move on to then is Manchester United and Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yes.
So it sounds like ESPN are reporting that LA Galaxy are going to come in for him at the end of... Well, at some point this year, essentially. Yeah. Their season kicks off in a couple of months, I believe.
Yeah.
It's been a while... It's been talked about for a while that he might go to America. You see it as a natural sort of progression of where to end his career.
His wife has business interests in the States as well. I remember this coming up last year, just as he was finishing his first season at Man United. Yeah. And, you know, there was the rumours about going to the Beckham franchise in Miami. There was rumours about the Red Bulls, I think, and also rumours about the Galaxy. Yeah. And it's clear that they want to, you know, the Ibrahimovic family want to take their business empire stateside at some stage. And I think now's the right time. Quite simply because, well, one, I never thought Man United should have offered him a second year to that deal anyway. Yeah. But I think getting Lukaku was probably contingent on them looking after Ibrahimovic. From Mino Raiola's point of view.
Right, okay, so you keep paying him for 6 more months.
Yeah, so he says...
It's not a lot of money.
So he says, look after Zlatan, keep paying him, keep him fit, and I'll make sure, and I'll get you Lukaku.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's because, you know, there's a lot of Raiola players at Man United. Well, there's one less now with Mkhitaryan gone, but Pogba's obviously involved as well. And that was my suspicion at the time, that I thought, okay, from a football point of view, I just didn't think Zlatan fitted anymore. And plus he was injured, he had a really bad injury.
Yeah. Crucial, wasn't it?
Yeah, and for him to have another deal added onto that,
at 36 years of
age,
to
get signed back, you know, it was a huge surprise.
Everyone was quite surprised at it, and he's not done anything this season.
No, he's done nothing this season. Well, the injury is probably it's taken its toll. I watched him in the flesh in a few games, and he's not the same player. And after an injury like that, you need a run of games, match scenarios to get yourself back up to full fitness, but United they can't afford to keep him in the team to make sure he gets fit for the next 4 or 5 months of the season when they're chasing so many different objectives. It's not going to happen. So the best thing he can do is build up his fitness with Man United, and then get a nice move to LA. Yeah,
it could happen before the start of the season, couldn't it?
It could, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that's one to watch, even after the end of after deadline day, so to speak, for the European clubs. MLS transfer window is still open.
Still be open, yeah.
Alright, let's move on to some of the comment sections, the comments that you've been sending in. We have one from Kwasi Byrne saying Malcolm will join Tottenham. We get Aubameyang Mickey instead. Probably
in summer. It looks like they're close to doing a deal for Lucas Moura from PSG. Spurs are, and in that case, I think there's been a few Premier League clubs now who've kind of had a look at Malcolm and decided maybe he's not ready just yet.
Man United had a look, Arsenal had a look. I think it was Man City also had a look. Yeah, so there's been a few that are scouting him. He's definitely one to keep an eye on, isn't he?
He wants to keep an eye on, and he's right if he's pointing out that, you know, Spurs are getting... I mean, Lucas Moura is a great player, but Arsenal will have done terrific business in this transfer window. If they get rid of Walcott, get rid of Giroud, get rid of Sanchez off the wages, and then bring in Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang.
Definitely.
Bob's your uncle with that.
Yeah. What about Ozil, Alex McDonald says?
Still hopeful that he'll sign a new contract. Nothing to report at this stage.
5 more months left on his deal.
Plus, I haven't heard. You know, any club would probably love to have him, but you know, if the feelers are out there, you know, they haven't pricked my ears at this stage. You know, there isn't. He's not inevitably going to join any one particular club at this stage. I still think that Arsenal will keep him.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a Sanchez type.
He'll be delighted. He'll look around at training next week and he'll see Aubameyang there and he'll see Mkhitaryan there and he'll feel, okay, good, we're going somewhere now. We're going somewhere.
Yeah, progression essentially.
Yeah.
Timothy Finnan has said, who is going to Real?
In January?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone's going to Real.
Nobody. Not in January. Yeah. That's because they're going to rely, I think, on what I call muscle memory to get them through the Champions League. They know how to get through these big games and manage the occasion. Yeah. That group of players. They've written off La Liga. I think what they want to do now is just qualify for the Champions League, although they seem to have rectified their form in the last couple of weeks. But then the summer will be a huge undertaking, and then it's going to be a case of, you know, do you want to spend 300-400 million on 3 or 4 players, or do you want to spend it all on one? Yeah. So Real Madrid fans, what do you think? Would you want to do the entire transfer and wage budget on Neymar, or would you prefer to maybe have a look around and go for Hazard, Kane, and some other players like that?
It might be that Neymar isn't even on the table, obviously.
I think he'll be on the table.
Even if they don't win the Champions League?
Yeah.
You think that if enough money comes in, PSG will listen to it?
Yeah, the player always has the power.
Let's read out a couple more. Hazard has won the vote for if you'd rather have Hazard or Coutinho.
Yeah, I thought so.
So you were backed up there. Mario Moya said Eden to stay and Eden Dzeko in for Chelsea.
Who to stay?
Eden Hazard.
So Eden and Eden, yeah.
So we'd have 2 Edens. Eden and Eden, yeah.
Eden and Eden.
I think, like, even with all this Man City talk about Hazard, I don't think anyone really expects him to leave in the January transfer window.
Chelsea will be petrified.
Can you reckon?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Just like trying to turn off the fax machine. So
well, he's one of the best players in the world. You know, why would he be sticking around to a team who's so much uncertainty over the management. Their transfer targets look to be so higgledy-piggledy.
Brexit.
Yeah, they just don't know who they're looking at. So Hazard might be thinking, look, I've got a few more years at my peak here before I, go and disappear and do whatever it is I'm going to do at the end of my career. And I want some meaningful football. He joined Chelsea after they won the Champions League, so he's not fulfilled that objective yet.
Yeah.
And, players have to be selfish because your career's gone in a blink of an eye.
We'll wait and see what he does then. So that's it from us today. We'll be back again same time tomorrow to be discussing the best transfer news and gossip. See you then.